Well, in this illuminating book, Message to the Black Man, the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad gives a description on page 267 on that which has sealed the doom of our oppressors. It says, all have been touched by their destructive hand and evil way of civilization, and finally the bringing of my people to make their destruction sure. Actually, it was suicide for them to have brought our fathers in slavery. This act was charged to them by the divine supreme being as being the most wicked people on earth. So that which sealed the fate and doom of our enemy was the fact that they kidnapped us and brought us to America to make us into a slave. Did you hear me? He said that the destructive hand of the enemy has touched everybody. And for the most part, when you look at black people today, we have become carbon copies of our slave masters. Is that right? It's a known fact that any time that you deposit a species in the environment of another species, if that people are not allowed to function or that species is not in accord with its nature, it will duplicate the habits of the dominant species in that environment. Well, when we came to America, we were deposited into America, and the dominant species here has been the white male. So we have been in America looking at a way to be successful, a way to be progressive, and have been duplicating the way of our enemy, and it ain't working for you and me. Did you hear me? We're not good at being wrong. We just apprentices. The white man is a journeyman. We stealing TVs, stealing radios, stealing cars, stealing cell phones, but he stole us. How you gonna top that kind of thievery? We doing little drive-bys with guns that barely shoot straight, and he's pushing buttons, eliminating whole nations from the earth. How you top that in killing? We killed a few people on this side of town while they are wiping out whole nations of people. No, it's better for us to stop trying to be like they are and accept our own and be ourselves. In this illuminating book, the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, in this section titled The Judgment, he highlights and raises two primary examples of nations in the past that we should study to see what's going to happen in America. Did y'all hear me? One is Egypt, and the other one is called Babylon. On page 273, the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad says, America is falling, her doom is sealed. Now, I'm serious. I don't understand why black people trip so much on the fall of America. What are we going to do? Don't you know we already at the bottom? No, just think about that for a second. When the Dow Jones reports that it's down 12 points, what happens to your account? Nothing. When they say that we're not even on the board with them. So why are we so concerned with Allah's hand of retribution, chastisement and judgment of our enemies when we're already at the bottom? Don't you know that if you are already at the bottom and an object that is big is falling, it ain't for you to cry and be concerned with the fall. It's for you to step out the way so that it can fall and not land on you. That's all we got to do is step out the way of the fall of America. We already at the bottom. All praise is due to Allah. And when it land and fall apart, we'll be able to say from the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, I told you so. And we can climb on up the ladder in the perfect rulership and set up a real world based upon the laws and statutes of the will of God. Well, in this page 273, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad says, I compare the fall of America with the fall of ancient Babylon. Her wickedness, sins, is the same as history shows of ancient Babylon. Did y'all hear that? In the Bible, in the 14th chapter, we read about this place called Babylon. But around the 17th chapter, we read about a place called the Mystery Babylon. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan teaches us that the word mystery means that which is unknown, or that which is not yet been revealed. So there's a Babylon coming in the future at the time of the writing of Revelations that looks just like Babylon, but it is a different nation with the same characteristics. Y'all still with me? Well, let's read and see if we can find out what the characteristics of this Babylon will be so we can locate where this country is on the planet. Is that all right with y'all? In the 17th chapter of Revelations, it says, and there came one of the 7 angels, which had the 7 vials, and talked with me, saying unto me, come hither. I will shew unto thee the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters. Put a bookmark in there. Did y'all hear me? Put a bookmark in that point right there. A great whore that sitteth upon many waters, with whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication. So he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet colored beast, full of the names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns. You could put a bookmark in that too. And the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet color, and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, having a golden cup in her hand, full of the abominations and filthiness of her fornication. And upon her forehead was the name written, Mystery Babylon, the great mother of harlots and the abominations of the earth. Did y'all hear that? So the way that we will find this nation that is like Babylon, but coming in a different place at a different time period, is we have to find present in that nation a sign of this great whore that sits upon many waters with a scarlet colored robe on and having in her hand a golden cup. Can we go to the slide real quick? Is that the Statue of Liberty? The Statue of Liberty sits on something called Ellis Island, meaning that it is sitting upon many waters. She has a torch in her hand. That is the golden cup. We are living in the real mystery Babylon. We're already here at that place. You say, oh, that ain't enough evidence? Okay, let's keep rolling then. When you look at the name Babylon, if you separate the name Babylon, Babylon is really baby London. Have you ever wondered why in America they have a New York, a New Hampshire, a New Jersey? Well, the question is, where's the old York? Where's the old Hampshire? Where's the old Jersey? This is baby London. Where did the founding fathers come from? They were let out of the prisons in England. This is the baby London. So this mystery Babylon that will be destroyed is really talking about the United States of America. There was a cry that this one that was raised from among that people cried out to them, and his cry was, come out of her, my people, that you be not partakers of her sins, and her plagues. See, we trying to be exempt, is that right? So if we want to be exempt, the purified ones are those who have an exemption. The exempt are those who exhort one another to truth and exhort one another to patience. Is that right? The exempt are those who believe and those who do good. The exempt are those who are not partakers of our sins, because partaking in the sins is what allow us to participate and be the victims of the plagues that's coming. Y'all still with me? Well, this is a problem. The most honorable Elijah Muhammad said that in dealing with us, trying to get us to come out of her, my people, that we're running into a snag trying to get our people to build for self. On page 271, the honorable Elijah Muhammad says, the problem of the American black man is his unwillingness to be separated from his 400-year-old enemy. The problem, therefore, is harder to solve. So here's a man crying, come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins and her plagues. But for some reason, sins and plagues are coming, but the people still don't want to come out. Black people in America, we are a little bit worse off than the children of Israel are written of in the Bible. Moses went to Pharaoh back then and said, Pharaoh, let my people go. But right now, we in America as a people, we are so intertwined with our enemy that the cry ain't to Pharaoh to let my people go. We got to go and say, my people, let Pharaoh go. All praise is due to Allah. All praise is due to Allah. He goes on to say, the problem therefore is harder to solve, especially when with the enemy trying to fascinate the Negro with his lower class girls, and women arraying them partly nude before the Negroes in every public news media, cheap daily newspapers and magazines, radio and TV, and the Negro is quick to imitate. There's a saying in sociology that association breeds assimilation. Meaning whatever you are around for a long period of time, that you began to adopt the mannerism of that which you are around. They've even found that if you take a person that's been raised in one environment and deposit them in a new environment, that 92% of the people that go to a new environment never escape the conditions imposed on them in their old environment. Everybody quiet. In other words, you can take the Negro out the ghetto, but you can't, y'all, now you understand what I'm saying. So what happens? Anytime a people have been robbed of their name, robbed of their religion, robbed of their moreways, folkways, norm, stripped from their own God and their own land, then they don't have the proper stable datum to build life on. So whenever you have a people that don't know themselves, they are able to look around at the dominant figure in the environment and they become a version of somebody else. So we imitate them because we don't know who and what we really are. All praise is due to Allah. Don't you know that if you take this sin's plagues, the end, which is their end, this judgment coming, this fall, this doom, this shock of the hour that's going to shake this world. If you do the math and you find that there's a people lodged into that group that are not supposed to be the recipients of that chastisement, yet they refuse to leave and go and do for self. If you translate that from a group condition to an individual condition, they call that battered woman syndrome. Did you hear me? Battered woman syndrome, which produces a condition called learned helplessness. It means that a condition of a human being or an animal in which it has learned to behave helplessly, even when the opportunity is restored for it to help itself by avoiding an unpleasant or harmful circumstance to which it has been subjected. Learned helplessness theory is the view that clinical depression and related mental illness may result from a perceived absence of control over the outcome of a situation. In other words, whenever somebody has been in an abusive relationship so long that they have been beaten down so bad that they now have learned helplessness. And even though the opportunity presents itself to go and be free from abuse, free from being mistreated, their girlfriend comes to her sister and says, look, girl, you can do bad all what? All by yourself. Leave him. He's no good for you. If he gonna do you like that, he don't really love you. He beat you. He did this to you. He's cheating on you, so forth and so forth. And at the end of all of that equation, you stand there with a black eye crying and you just say, but I just love him. Now, when you see a woman like that, you say, there's something wrong with her. She need to hurry up and get out of that relationship and figure out how to get herself back solid. And then if a new relationship comes, all praise is due to Allah. Well, I'm saying to black people right now, how long are we going to be mistreated? How long are we going to be lied to? How long are we going to be abused and tricked before we give up on our enemy and our oppressor and get a divorce with some alimony? All praise is due to Allah. All praise is due to Allah. All praise is due to Allah. So we find common among this state of Babylon, they had people that they had enslaved and abused that didn't want to go free even whenever the one that God raised was calling them out. The next example that the most honorable Elijah Muhammad gives us in this section called the judgment is a nation called Egypt. On page 269, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad says that Allah, in the person of Master Farad Muhammad, to whom praise is due forever. Can I stop right there for just a second? Just a public service announcement. Are you all right? We want to pay homage to our sponsors. Because if it wasn't for Master Farad Muhammad, we wouldn't have had an Elijah Muhammad. And if it wasn't for an Elijah Muhammad, we wouldn't have a Louis Farrakhan. And if it wasn't for a Louis Farrakhan, we would not be here right now doing what we are doing. All praise is due to Allah. What's so interesting about this, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad says that Master Farad Muhammad, to whom praise is due forever. Now, he taught us that the wise scientists knew how to calculate by supreme mathematics. They could multiply the thoughts of people by the actions of people and redivide it by the thinking, and could determine based upon present thought and action in a mathematical formula what would happen 25,000 years in advance. And when they wrote history not to reflect what has happened, but they wrote history to dictate what was going to happen. And they made history 1 year for every mile of the home circumference of the planet. So prior to 66 trillion years ago, before the moon was put out there, the earth was approximately 35,000 miles in circumference. So the scientists made history in advance 35,000 years. After the moon was put out there, the earth became 24,896 miles, approximately 25,000. And after that time, history was written 25,000 years in advance. Each cycle of time had a supreme being that governed that cycle. Did you hear me? But that cycle only lasted 35,000 or 25,000 years. Y'all still with me? Well, at the end of this cycle, a new cycle would begin. And the new God was not allowed to use the wisdom of the previous God. He did not duplicate. He started a whole new cycle. So technically, those gods, all praise was due to them for 25,000 or 35,000 years. But there's something special about this man named Master Farad Muhammad. He don't have a 25,000 or 35,000 year cycle. To whom praise is due what? Forever. It's a special God we have. I just thought we'd put a public service announcement out there. Allah in the person of Master Farad Muhammad, to whom praise is due. For how long? Forever. Now judges the American whites and is causing America's fall and total destruction. Brothers and sisters, don't you know that any time that we are living in the presence of the Supreme Being, whose will be praised forever, the kind of mind and calculations that he employs to figure out what is going to be in the future is a different kind of math than regular people are using. So Mr. Harold Camping, I don't know what math he was using to calculate how he calculated, but I know the math that Master Farad Muhammad gave us is the supreme mathematics. He said, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad about him, and this is just something for us that are striving to help the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan or anybody that loves your people, that want to see your people free. This work can get frustrating. Is that right? It can get, you can start to bother you a little bit because we are hard to deal with. The scripture says that we are hard-hearted, hard-headed, stiff-necked, and rebellious. We are sheep-like people, easy to lead in the wrong direction, but hard to lead in the right direction. So black people will frustrate you. Y'all act like y'all don't know what I'm talking about. We are special people now. But in the course of your sojourn to free your people, to save the lives of those that you love, know this, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that the will of Master Farad Muhammad will not be frustrated. What is his will? His will is that he, through Brother Farrakhan, will get not some but all of my people. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that he knew the exact date that he would have 10 million followers. What, according to the Bible and the Holy Quran, what causes people to join the ranks at an exact measure in large numbers is when natural disasters begin to hit a country. Well, how can the Honorable Elijah Muhammad say that he knows the exact date that he would have 10 million followers unless he's in control of the rain, hail, snow, and earthquakes that's going to bring them followers at the twinkling of an eye? All praises are due to Allah. So whenever you get a little sad, when you get a little frustrated, when you get a little bothered, know that through Farrakhan we're going to get all of our people. It ain't a matter of if, it's just a matter of when. And if we keep on moving forward, Allah will bless us to be the winners by His grace. In this section, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad goes on to say that Master Farad Muhammad now judges the American whites and is causing America's fall and total destruction. How much destruction? Not 5 or 10%, not 20%, but what? Total destruction. He said Egypt under Pharaoh is an example. It fulfills the signs and other prophecies of the doom of this people as foretold by the prophets from Noah to Jesus. That means that Allah has coded in the story of Egypt, Moses, Aaron, Joshua, Pharaoh. He has coded in this experience in the scripture the prophecies of the fall of this present world and how all the signs that the prophets from Noah to Jesus have predicted just in this one story. Y'all want to check it out? Let's see if we can check it out. We contend today, brothers and sisters, that the real Egypt of your Bible was not a place in Africa 4,000 years ago. We contend that the Egypt of your Bible is America right now. Y'all with me? The word Egypt just means land of bondage. That could be anywhere. Would you agree? Pharaoh, that's not the man's name. That's his title. It means king or ruler. In fact, the word Moses in Arabic is Musa, spelled M-U-S-A, letting us know that the real Moses is in the United States of America. Does that make sense? In fact, when you look at the way America is structured, it's a carbon copy of Egypt. So, in one slide we see that there is a Washington monument, and then in Egypt there's something called the obelisk. Don't they look just alike? Ain't it something that this was built by black people? This obelisk? That one probably was too. It's 555 feet tall, and it looks like the number 1. And if you put a 1 next to 555, it's 1555. Is that not the year that we came into slavery in the hells of North America? Oh, praise is due to Allah. When you look at the next slide, we see Abraham Lincoln sitting in his seat. Did it not look like the great king and Pharaoh Ramses sitting in his? Thousands of years in advance. Where'd you get the idea from? Why are you copying Egypt? What is it that they know that they haven't told us? When you look at the symbol of America, the symbol of America is an eagle. And look at the great symbol in Egypt, a falcon. Do you see the math? One thing you will notice when you look on the back of your dollar bill, that this eagle that you see on the American dollar, look at it now. Above the head of the eagle, there are 13 stars. There's 13 arrows, 13 leaves, 13 berries. Why are you using this number 13 so much? Because in some of the Masonic orders, the number 13 represents the breaking of a divine cycle, while 12 represents the completion of a divine cycle. So on point number 12, Allah appeared in the person of Master Farad Muhammad. Why? Because he comes to complete a divine cycle. But they don't intend on bowing down to Master Farad Muhammad. They intend on representing 13. They want to break the cycle. Have you ever wondered why they always talking about how the 13th floor? Bad luck. And you know, black people, we got to get out of this stupid station. I know I said stupid. It's not super. It's stupid station. Talking about a black cat walked in front of me, I'm going to have bad luck. You in the mall with your baby, they didn't split the pole. You better go back around that pole. Gonna mess up our whole family. Did you just break a mirror? You know that's 7 years of bad luck. And then we got the nerve to run around with a 4-leaf clover. Talking about we gonna have good luck. A rabbit's foot. How can a rabbit's foot be a mark of good luck when the rabbit you got the one from used to have 4? And for you to get the one, he couldn't have been too lucky. No, that's stupid stition. It ain't nothing super about it, it's stupid stition. Y'all all right?
Yes, sir.
Whether they call it the 13th floor on the elevator or not, it is the 13th floor. Does that make sense? But they represented it like that. Friday the what? See? coded language. What you find different on the back of the $1 bill, see, you ever heard that saying that money talks? Well, the question is, what is money saying? One thing you will find among all currency in the West is that all currency is 6 inches long. There's another constant. All currency, whether it's $1 all the way up to a $100 bill, all of them always have a spider's web as a backdrop. Why do they use a spider's web? Because that's what America has been for you and me. See, a spider puts a web out, don't they? And then an insect lands on the web, and it looks like it's an innocent place to land. Next thing you know, the fly decides that it wants to get up and fly away and realizes that it's stuck. Is that right? The fly continues to fight and wears down itself, and look in the corner of the web, there's a spider waiting there for the insect in the web to wear itself out. And when that insect is worn out, then the spider comes out to the head of the insect and sticks a needle into the head, sends into the body a poisonous enzyme that breaks down the form and then sucks all the insides out, leaving the insect looking like alive on the outside but dead on the inside. So the next thing you know, another insect flies past and looks and sees another fly that looks to be alive and says, man, I'm gonna land right there too. And before long, it gets up and tries to fly away. It might even try to talk to the other insect in the web. And when it realizes that the insect just got outside but nothing on the inside, it tries to get up and go, and it can't go nowhere. Tell me that's not what happened to the black man and woman here in North America. We have been in a spider's web, brothers and sisters, and they have watched you and me wear ourselves down fighting and killing one another. And when we drop our babies off at school, they stick a needle in the head of our babies. When our babies go to church, they stick a needle in the head of our babies. Then they break down the inside, leave us looking good on the outside, but hollow on the inside, and then leave us as poster children that the American dream will work for us. So we see a few Negro athletes. Is that right? We see a few Negro entertainers, and we see them in the web. They looking good, riding good, and we try to land in the same spot and realize it was all a trap in the first place. That's a constant on all these dollar bills. What was different though about the symbol with the falcon and the eagle versus in America, if there's something above. I didn't say beside, I didn't say beneath, I said there's something that's above the eagle. When something is above, it has authority over. See, if you were to connect the dots of these 13 stars at the top, it forms the 6-point star, which is the symbol of the Jews. It's not beside America. It's not underneath. Why? They're letting you know that we in control of this country. So the same way that you would have a device over top of a puppet with strings attached to it, and however that device moved, then the puppet would move in accordance with that device. This is the way the Jews have been moving America. You can put the greatest basketball players on a string, they being moved by the same people. You can put your singers, your dancers, your talk show hosts. The Jews are moving everybody in America because they have America as puppets on the string. Notice that on the back of the dollar, the eagle is looking over on the other side at a pyramid. Y'all still with me? Yes, sir. The pyramid was built by you and me. Is that right? Yes, sir. So you have an eagle, which is a bird of prey, looking over at that which it plans on making its prey. Y'all with me? So the predator looks over and says, that's what I plan on devouring. I wonder, have they been successful at doing it? Well, they're doing pretty good. But we intend, by the help of Allah, with the leadership and guidance of the Honorable Louis Farrakhan, to cut them strings off of every black man, woman, and child, and all that want to do right in the world, so that we can be a free thinking and free moving people. This story, brothers and sisters, of Moses, Pharaoh, and Egypt, it's a carbon copy of you and me. Y'all with me? Yes, sir. Don't you know that Moses was put into a basket, sent up the Nile River by his mother, and then raised by his enemy? Well, what happened to black people? Don't they call Africa the motherland? Were we not put on a slave ship? In order for us to get to America, we had to cross the Atlantic Ocean, but before we got to the Atlantic Ocean, we had to go up the Nile River. So the same way Moses' mother was put him in a basket, sent him up, and the enemy raised him, we were put into a slave ship from Mother Africa, sent up the Nile River, and we've been raised by our enemies. Does this make sense? We are the real children of Israel. So teaches the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. And we know that he knows what he's talking about. In fact, when the Bible talks about the children of Israel, it prescribes that there are certain conditions that must be lived up to. In order for you to be the children of Israel, according to the Bible in Genesis 15 and 13, you have to be the seed of Abraham. The seed of Abraham. How will you know whether you're the seed of Abraham? It says, know of a surety, Abram, that thy seed shall be a stranger in a land that is not theirs, and they shall serve them and be afflicted for 400 years. And then after that time, I will come. That's God talking. Not a messenger or a prophet coming, but God is coming. And I'm coming to judge that nation whom you have served. Did you hear me? Yes, and they shall come out having great substance. I said that the end is really their end. There are no other people in the annals of history that have been strangers in a land not theirs but black people in America. There are no other people that have been in bondage for 400 years in a strange land but black people in America. So the real seed of Abraham is not a white Jew. The real seed of Abraham is you and me here in the wilderness of North America. We in the modern day Egypt under the modern day Pharaoh. And we got a modern day Moses and Aaron walking among us right now. In fact, the Jews say that they are not the children. Look what they say. They say, Jesus told them, ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. The Jews responded, well, how shall we be made free when we have never been in bondage to any man? Well, if you have never been in bondage to any man, and the pre-qualifications for being the seed of Abraham is that you must be a slave in a strange land among a strange people for 400 years, and you've never been in bondage, then you've disqualified yourself. They say that the children of Israel in the Bible were supposed to be building the pyramids, yet the word pyramid is nowhere in the Bible. They say that the slaves in Egypt were making bricks that were made of mud and straw. Well, pyramids are not made of bricks of mud and straw. Pyramids are made of blocks of marble, blocks of granite, and gold. The only thing we know of that was built by some slaves that are made of bricks of mud and straw are the skyscrapers in the United States of America, built by you and me. We the real children of Israel. All praise is due to Allah. All praise is due to Allah. Jesus told the Jews back then, if you was Abraham's seed, then you would be doing the works of Abraham. The Jews said, well, God is our father. Jesus responded, if God were your father, then you would love me, for I proceeded forth from the Father. Didn't he say that? Then Jesus went on to say that the Jews that call themselves Jews today in Revelations 2:9 and 3:9 are not Jews, but they are of the synagogue of Satan. Well, if there's some people claiming to be a thing while a whole nother people are really them, then the people that are the real children of Israel have been victims of identity theft.